Song Revolution with John Chisholm on the NRT Podcast Network.
Hey everybody, and Happy New Year 2023. Where did 2022 even go? I mean, it seems like we just watched that ball drop on the year 2022, and here we are again, right? As I look back on the last 12 months, I see so much blessing along with the testings that we all went through, and that's just how life is. It's such a mixed bag, kind of like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates, if you remember that movie. You just never know what you're going to get, and we did a lot here at Nashville Christian Songwriters, mostly training over 130 Christian songwriters through our NCS Pro Song Mastery program. And now all of these amazing Christian songwriters are out there doing their thing and making Jesus famous in so many ways. They're just stepping up their worship songwriting, finding their voices like never before, making CDs and releasing singles, and just living into their calling like they had never even imagined. And that's why we're even here, to empower you, Christian songwriters worldwide, to bring your listeners into a deeper sense of worship and share your hearts and gifts and testimonies of the goodness of God in your life, and to get your songs out there to the world. I'm thinking you probably want that, so be sure to check the show notes for a link to a free songwriting discovery call with us where you can find out if NCS Pro Song Mastery is your next right step to the successful ministry that you feel called to. It's a free call, and we're super nice and friendly and low-key on the call. You'll feel loved and appreciated and honored for who you are, and maybe we can come alongside you to help you do all God's put in your heart. So check the show notes for that link, and maybe we'll be downloading to you the 40-plus years of successful songwriting that we have to save you time, money, and a seriously long learning curve, and help you feel what it's like to have a lot of people loving and singing your songs. Why not make 2023 the year that you take some massive action on that dream to write at a pro level? I believe that you're called to write, and we're called to help. So jump on that call now. Well, we're starting a brand new year, and January is always a fresh feeling kind of a month for me. Maybe it's just a mental thing, but I always feel like I've been given a do-over and a fresh start and a clean slate somehow. Even though it's just another month, it feels like some great big cosmic clock has been set back to zero, and I can breathe in some fresh air or something. I don't know. I mean, do you ever feel like that? It's my birth month, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But anyway, I always feel fresh in January. So today, I wanted to share with you 3 ways that you can jumpstart your songwriting this new year. And I hope that by the end of this short podcast that you feel renewed and reinvigorated for your songwriting from these 3 insights that I want to give you in the next few minutes. But before I jump into the content for today, I need to do a quick shout out to my fine friends over at Music City Acoustics. They helped me make the ChizPod an amazing podcast studio with their state-of-the-art acoustical treatment. You can see it behind me now. It's actually on the ceiling and all around the walls if you're watching the video. And they're very attractive acoustic wall and ceiling panels, as well as corner bass traps that just make my studio sound like the best place in town. And it just gets rid of all that echoey slap that ruins a podcast or any other recording that I'm trying to do, like demos or especially vocals or guitars, anything live like that. So if you have a home studio or you're part of a church or business struggling with sound issues, go ahead and jump over to musiccityacoustics.com and let them do a free CAD drawing of your space. You just give them the dimensions and they send it right back to you to help you step up the quality of your room. They're super easy to work with, and they'll give you a special deal on your first order if you mention the ChizPod. Check them out at musiccityacoustics.com and tell them you heard about it here for a special deal when you order for the first time. Well, I've spoken personally with over 2,600 aspiring Christian songwriters checking out our Pro Song Mastery program over the last few years, and all of them, without exception, want to get their songs out there and use their gifts to glorify God. Well, I do too, and I've been fortunate in being able to do that over the last 40 years, working with the Gaithers and Star Song Media and Integrity Music, and I've managed as many as 18 full-time songwriters at once, managed over 20 employees in song development and copyright, and helped to oversee over 200 pieces of product in my career. So I'm trying to bring all of that to you so that you can fulfill all that God's dropped in your heart. And that's why I created NCS and why we work hard to find the most innovative and engaging ways to serve you. This is all about you and your songwriting. I long to see you step it up and invest in yourself and in your potential audience. But, guys, I can't believe in your dreams more than you do. And I just want to say, I'm going to be really bold. I believe it's time for every Christian songwriter listening to this show to step up to your calling, to stop making excuses why you can't do what you feel God's calling you to do. I mean, you're saying God is calling you to this, and where He guides, as the old saying goes, He provides, He makes the way. And there's always a way to get His will done when you're surrendered and willing to be guided into your destiny and calling. He's just waiting for one small step of faith, and then He just seems to swoop in and move you along like a gentle river. And I know that I've seen it over and over in my own life, in my ministry, and now in NCS as we finish 7 years of serving songwriters all over the world. Now, no one is any more amazed at what God has allowed me to do in my writing career and now than I am. In coming alongside you and yours, I just love serving you and pray that 2023 will be your breakthrough year as you faithfully pursue every opportunity to write and share your songs. And I'm feeling the need to do a lot more teaching and sharing on this show in this new year. I love the interviews I do with great artists like Blanca, that was a great one. Need to Breathe, Bear Reinhardt, that was great. Matt Marr, Carrie Job, and so many more. And I'm going to keep doing those, but I wanted to share my heart and journey more openly with you and give you as much to use in your songwriting as possible through this show. I just think that if you pay attention to each episode and begin to incorporate the things that I teach, you can level up your songwriting skills exponentially in the next 12 months. Does that sound good? I mean, treat this like your own weekly mini coaching course. I'm going to be releasing shorter weekly shows so that you can enjoy them while on your morning drive or at the gym or cooking dinner. And I would appreciate you sharing them with your friends and creative community at your church and online, and help a lot of other songwriters and creatives get pumped up for this season when the world so desperately needs the love and the power of Jesus in their lives. So would you do that now? Take a moment to share this out, like it, subscribe to my YouTube, and let's grow NCS for the glory of God, because we're all about the kingdom around here, and I hope that you can feel the love flowing through the airwaves right now. I'm going to break into Can You Feel the Love Tonight from Lion King. So I want to share with you in this show 3 ways to jumpstart your songwriting and creativity in 2023. You might be wondering where creativity even comes from, and we're going to get into that today along with 3 actionable ways that you can fire up your songwriting quickly and even easily if you apply these 3 insights continually. So the first one that I want to share with you might feel a little bit counterintuitive, because the first thing that you probably want to do is to go out, buy a bunch of gear, and trick out your digital audio workstation and start making a bunch of noise. But the first thing that always helps me to get cranked up to write is to actually stop everything and to just be quiet, to actually sit alone quietly and just think. Writers, artists, poets, authors, and every creative person that I know, and even back through history, makes sacred space for solitude and quiet. I mean, whatever you want to do with that, you can meditate on scripture or a meaningful passage if you want. But the real point of this is to quiet the mind and make room for fresh thoughts, new ideas, and a deeper inspiration and creativity than a noisy and cluttered mind can deliver to you. I mean, the philosopher Blaise Pascal, I love his name, said in the 1600s, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Boy, I know how hard that is. And it's just amazing that he said this centuries long ago, before social media and all the modern distractions that we have these days that swallow up our time and just totally steal our creativity and only create fear and anxiety and a sense of never measuring up to the perfect Instagram people that we see every day. What could it do for your soul and for your songwriting if you were to set aside even 10 minutes a day to just be with yourself and with God and to be quiet, to just listen instead of praying passionately for a song or for something else that you want to get from God? What if you just gave yourself to Him for 10 minutes in solitude and listening? I mean, be sure to write down any important ideas that come to you. Keep a pad and a pencil there or whatever. But I know from my own experience that quietness is one of the most creative tools that I possess. I actually practice this often and use it for more than songwriting. Taking a few minutes to calm my mind at any point during the day always helps me to gain my composure and get more insights and fresh ideas with which to approach the challenge that I'm facing in that moment. So instead of rushing to write, what if you put yourself in timeout and just listen first? I think you'll be surprised at the peace and the serenity that you will then be able to write from. It's very, very important. That's a huge, huge hint as to where creativity comes from. And the second thing that many songwriters forget to do is set a target for their writing session. They're, most likely coming in tired, rushed, hurried, and frantically trying to write a song anyone would like. So there's that pressure. And the reason timeout is so important, my first point is, it puts all that aside. So the second thing is setting a musical, thematic, and lyrical target for your writing. I mean, who will be the target audience for this song? For whom are you writing? Yourself, God, a particular audience like your church or for CCM radio or for a coffee house group in your town? If you don't have a target, you don't know when you hit one. Who's the perfect artist that you wish would sing this song? How would they sing it? What's their style and vocal range? And what kind of words would they use or not use? Who is their audience? And how can you write a song for them through your target artist? Now, there's no such thing as writing for the masses. There are only individuals in the world, people just like you and me, who like what they like and love what they love, and who feel that the songs they love are personalized to their own hearts and lives and speak to them for very specific reasons. So trying to write for the masses of people is just a waste of time because there's no way to hit that target. You have to write for the broken-hearted 16-year-old girl who just got ditched by her jerk boyfriend, or for the 45-year-old man who just lost the love of his life to cancer, or the believer who's lost her faith somehow, or for any number of individuals who are struggling in some way that you understand and can write about with your own emotion, your own heartache and testimony. I mean, people know immediately if you're trying to herd them together and treat them as the masses. So just don't do that. Just ask yourself, what am I feeling strongly today, and how can I best communicate it? It might be a sense of worship or the nearness of God, or it might be a sense of loneliness and the frightening absence of God. It might be a sense of longing for the healing of your body and mind, or for reconciliation in your family or the world at large. It just has to be something that is simultaneously specific to you and yet universally felt, like Lauren Daigle's opening lines in You Say, I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. What a great first line. We've all felt like that. But she makes it so personal as she reminds us to believe more in what God says about us than in what our own minds say. Or like the hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness, that is written in first person, but never fails to lift us all into a beautiful corporate expression of God's immutable faithfulness. These feelings are both personal and universal. So ask yourself what you're feeling and then capture it in the most moving words and music for everyone else in the world who is feeling what you are now. The best songs all invite us into an emotion of some kind, and that's how you reach the largest number of people. Not by targeting the masses, target the emotion, and you'll get a lot closer to reaching people with your songs. And the third and final thing that I want to share with you today is to help you jumpstart your songwriting this year is to treat it with the same energy that you treat your job or your favorite relationships or your favorite hobby. Those things all get the best you've got to give, but a lot of time we're giving songwriting the leftovers, thinking that God's just going to drop songs on us, and that's a very lazy and ineffective way to be a pro songwriter. Of the thousands of songs I've heard from writers who say God gave them a song, not one has been amazing or had a powerful impact on the world. Now, there are a couple of exceptions, like Darlene Check's Shout to the Lord or maybe Sinach's Waymaker, but both of these people were already musical and working on their songwriting when those songs were written or occurred to them. Or if you want to say God dropped them on them, okay, that's fine. I'm really not a skeptic about it spiritually. God can do what he wants, but I've only seen it used as an excuse for lazy songwriting so far. And I just don't want to see you stuck in bad songwriting habits because you're waiting on God to drop them on you. You know, God's always giving inspiration 24/7, 365 if we're listening. I don't believe he ever stops dropping inspirational spirit bombs on us, and great song ideas are buzzing around your head right now, but are you working to capture them and steward the gifts of that God's given you properly? It's true that energy grows where your focus goes. So say that a few times. If you focus on diet and exercise for more than a day, you'll get lean and fit. If you focus on songwriting through learning more about it, getting in community that's creative and stimulating, and get more feedback and coaching, then your songwriting will drastically improve, and more people will be drawn to God through you and your songwriting. You know, I see a lot of false humility in the Christian songwriting community where people say they just want to glorify God with their gifts, but they never seek to improve and grow those gifts. And that's the number one biblical imperative in Matthew 25 about the gifts and talents that God has loaned us for our brief stint here on the earth. And our stewardship is to grow these talents and not to sit on them waiting for God to do something with them. We act all humble and say we don't want to be famous or rich, but if that happened, we'd have a whole different perspective about it, believe me. I mean, Chris Tomlin and the top Christian songwriters get to do a lot more good in the world with the money they've earned from their songwriting than the rest of us who don't excel in it and go out to earn the money that they've earned. It's far better to steward our gifts, figure out how to prosper using them as the Bible commands in Matthew 25, and then glorify God even more by being generous and blessing the world with the financial benefits that we receive. It's just a funny thing to me that we get all goofy spiritual about it until we actually get a little better known. Some royalties are coming in and coming our way from our music. So what if we drop the act, stay true to God, write for his glory, but be happy if we earn anything from our songs and bless others when we do? All right, I'll get off that soapbox, but back to my original point. If you feel truly called to be a great Christian songwriter, what are you doing about it? If I felt called to be a great surgeon, I would spend years and hundreds of thousands of dollars to become one. But the vast majority of Christian songwriters I've encountered want it handed to them, and the last thing that they want to do is invest in their own songwriting education and their potential audience. And the small number of people who are willing to learn and invest in themselves and who then work hard to master their craft always affect more people than the ones who don't. I'm just saying. And it's the same principle in all of life. Energy grows where our focus goes, and focus includes physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial focus. Fulfilling a high and holy calling to write powerfully for God requires that we get up off our blessed assurance, put our hand to the plow, and stop wishing for lucky breaks that will never come. Okay, so that may seem like a harsh dose of reality, but the writers I know who've done it well focus on it every day and put their whole hearts into it over and over. And that's just what it takes to be great at anything. So if you want things to be any different for you this time next year, you have some decisions to make right now to do something differently than you did this past year. What do you really want to do with your songwriting? How do you want to show up in the world, with excellence and power or with mediocrity? The choice is yours, but if you're not happy with the results you're currently getting, you are the only one who can change it. Imagine for just a moment what it would feel like to hear thousands of people singing words and melodies that you've written from the inspiration that you feel to love and worship Jesus. Well, I remember the first time that happened for me, and I melted into tears. It was just so amazing and humbling and fulfilling, and I want that for you too. That's why we do all we do here at Nashville Christian Songwriters, so that you can fulfill your calling to write at the highest possible level. So let me recap what I've said in these 3 insights to jumpstart your songwriting this new year. First, get quiet. Settle your mind and give yourself in solitude and silent worship to God. He doesn't need all your words. He just loves you just as you are. And you'll be amazed at what just sitting with Him in total silence and rest will do for you, not just in your songwriting, but in every area of your life. Secondly, targeted songwriting will get you a lot further than unintentional songwriting. Target your audience with the right style, melodies, chord structure, and lyric messaging that they care about instead of just writing whatever pops into your head and calling it a song. Having a target is essential to hitting one and having anyone care about your song. The ultimate target is a listener who needs what you have to say, and your perfect listener is the person you used to be. Write for the person who needs to hear what has helped you become a better worshiper or husband or wife or human, and you will build an audience that loves what you write. And lastly, treat your calling as a side hustle, at least a real job and something worth your time, money, and effort. You just can't have a successful business of any kind without some type of investment. So ask yourself, what are you willing to put into yourself in 23? Do you still think it's selfish to invest any money in your songwriting? Well, that means you're unwilling to invest in your potential audience and into developing the gifts you say you passionately want to use to glorify God. I say the passion you say you have is useless if you're wanting to get it all for free and are unwilling to invest in the rest of us by investing in yourself. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in NCS so far in the 7 years that we've been doing this, and all to win the right to serve you. Are you willing to invest in yourself in order to serve your audience? Well, if you're at least ready to find out what that may mean for you, I want to invite you to set up a free breakthrough call with us to talk through what you feel called to do to see if NCS Pro Song Mastery or our one-on-one coaching or our new artist development program is your next right step. We've trained hundreds of writers so far, and all of them have stepped up their game in some way. We've had writers get their songs on radio, TV, make CDs, release singles, and even a couple of them are now Grammy nominees. And the point is that they took the action that they could in faith to be better and got results. You can do that too if you'll stop waiting for it all to drop on you for free and take massive action to step into your destiny. It's amazing the doors that can open when you just take even one step of faith. And if you're waiting to be good enough, you're waiting on the wrong thing. You get good enough by learning, and growing and using your gifts. So the question isn't, are you good enough? The real question is, are you called enough to do something this new year? Look in the show notes and click the link to set up a free call with us to tell us your story and why you feel called. It's not a high-pressured sales call, but an opportunity to join with you and come alongside you to see how God would join us for the purpose of getting your songs out where they need to be. My promise to you is that you'll feel loved, honored, and respected for whoever you are, wherever you are in your songwriting journey, and welcomed into a loving, Christ-centered community of dedicated Christian songwriters who are after exactly what you are, to draw as many people as possible to Jesus, one great song at a time. So, we'll be bringing some more great interviews each month, and we're now going to go to a weekly podcast format to bring you even more great teaching, inspiration, and actionable steps to make the most of all God has put in your heart to do. I hope that you'll like and share these episodes, and check out NCS Pro Song Mastery with the link in the show notes. I mean, if not now, when? Today is the day that God's calling you to take deeper responsibility, to be all He's inspiring in you, and we want to help set up that call, and we'll see you next week on Song Revolution. May 2023 be your best year ever. Hey, thanks for joining us on the show today. I hope that you'll jump over to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com and check out all the resources there to encourage you in your own songwriting. And if you like what we're doing, why not share this episode out on your socials? You can find the link in the show notes. We'll see you next time.